In this lesson, you're going to learn about the various types of fasting and how they can help you to reverse your diabetes. First and foremost, the most well-known and easiest way to fast is intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is basically fasting every day for a certain number of hours. You can start from as little as 8 hours to as much as 20 hours on a daily basis. Next up, there's the whole day fasting, or so-called 24 hours fasting. This means that you should fast, so you should refrain from eating or any other beverages that contain calories for a whole 24-hour period. Then there's the 3 days fasting. The 3 days fasting is a more particular type of fast that I don't recommend you do that much often, but it also can act as a very deep cleanse to help you improve insulin sensitivity and reverse diabetes. There's also these types of fasts do not include other types of fasting as well. These include water fasting, fat fasting, and juice fasting. Water fasting is the most pure of them all. It's also the most efficient and possibly the hardest. That's because water fasting does not provide you with any calories, and instead it just keeps you hydrated while your metabolism struggles to keep up with by burning your fat deposits. Fat fasting is a bit easier, which I recommend you implement in the beginning phases of adapting to fasting. It means that you can consume moderate amounts of fat because consuming fat does not alter your insulin sensitivity or your metabolism, and you can consume these fats without terminating your fast. This means that you can consume coconut oil or butter or cocoa oil. You can put them in your coffee, in your tea, however you wanna consume them. Lastly, there's juice fasting. Now, personally, I don't agree with juice fasting because many people put a lot of fruit in these juices, which only brings a lot of sugar to your digestion, which only worsens your blood sugar levels. Secondly, it does help you cleanse a lot of unwanted substances from your digestive tract, but it's not as efficient as the previous two. So I would suggest avoiding juice fasting. If you want some vegetables, just eat a salad. You don't need to juice them necessarily, especially because you need the fiber for helping you digest, although fat helps you a lot with digesting as well. So I would just recommend starting with fat fasting if you're not confident enough to start with water fasting, and if not, just go with water fasting for the best results in the shortest time possible. The following are recommended types of fasting. The first one is intermittent fasting. As I told you, it can start from 8 to 10 hours up to 16 hours per day. This is where I recommend most people to start with because it's the easiest, and it also reaps great results from this simple practice. You'll find out everything you need to know about intermittent fasting in the following lesson. Then you can ascend to fasting once per week for 24 hours. This can also greatly help with your insulin sensitivity, and it can also help you a lot with cleansing your body from the toxins that you consume otherwise. What I suggest is that you start with a fat fasting because it's much easier, and once you're comfortable with that, then switch to water fasting, which is a bit tougher, but it's also very much worth it. If you're very motivated, you can go beyond to fasting for 3 days, maybe even more. But for now, just keep in mind that you can start with intermittent fasting based on fat fasting, and afterwards you can switch to water fasting, doing the intermittent fasting. Then you can fast once per week for 24 hours. In the following lessons, we're going to dive deeper into these types of fasting.